On this episode of Diksha, we look at fate. Now, fate is a widely used word. It's a word that is, let's say, associated with faith in a higher power. But fate as a concept, as a rule of nature, takes on a life of its own when we realize how important it is. And the reason I say that is because fate is something that we can easily lose for, let's say, all the wrong reasons. The reason I make this point, I choose to make this point like this, is when let's say we have faith in God. As an example, God as an abstract example. So not any particular God to say, well, one God works better than the other. But when we have faith in God, we have faith that, or we believe, or we trust that God is competent. So the equivalence of faith is trust in competence, which is where we say, well, it's God's will or it's karma. Well, things have to happen how they have to happen. But it's to know that it's being handled. That's faith. And I think the more we practice asking for things that we want, is the less we practice faith. And it's quite simple in that if God is all-seeing and all-knowing and wise and is keeping track of everybody and has the system in place to make sure that karma works out for the Hindus who believe in karma, but also for the Christians and the Muslims who believe in getting blessings. So there are the mechanisms in place for you to reap automatically and eventually the benefits of good deeds and also let's say, the repercussions of bad deeds. And good and bad is relative. But there is a system in place. There's faith in that it will happen. So technically there's no need to ask for anything of God or from God, or to pray that we receive anything. Because there's two ways to look at it. The first way is that things have to fall in place to happen. Logically speaking, like for example, if I am praying for a good a job, I'm praying for a good job. I have to have the qualifications to fulfill that position of having a job. I can't be unqualified, but pray for a good job. And I know this, so I'll go out, I'll get a proper education, I'll become qualified in the field I want to occupy or to pursue. And then there's the little extra step is the praying to say, okay, I wish I have this job. But we have prepared, we have made ourselves ready for that position, and to hold on to the position and to perform well when we get the job, we also need to have a certain amount of competence and be able to fulfill the role. And the same thing is with everything that we would pray for. So we have to be able to handle when we get things, but also those things only really come to us, depends on the school of thought that you believe, things come to you as a blessing or through karma, which is it returns from a previous action. Now, knowing this is the faith part. Understanding that that is the way it works is faith. And now, in the social aspect, faith in people. So, faith in, let's say, that the people we interact with are competent in their jobs will allow us to trust. Well, trust is faith in that sense, but you put your trust that somebody is competent. Now we see, socially speaking, where both forms of faith or both definitions of faith is breaking down, because we can see where, well, obviously people are praying for what they want, specifically asking for what they want and when they want it, and making all sorts of demands on God. That doesn't really indicate a sign of faith. And in the same way too, we have where people socially assume that people who occupy a certain position or are doing a certain job can't do their job. So there is the breakdown of the understanding, first of all, of what faith is, and then even the definition of faith seems to be diluted, being from it, let's say, unadulterated trust unless proven wrong, but also an understanding that things that need to happen will happen when they are supposed to happen. And that's basically my point on the word faith. I could give many more examples and try to break it down more, but the basic idea of it is that it really is a clear sign. Like, if you want to observe it, just look at the prayer, the way you might pray, or people you know when they pray, whether it's in gratitude or reverence and being thankful, which might indicate faith, or whether it's more of a demanding nature and a nature of always longing and lusting after things that we request, let's say compensation from God. So that's basically it for this episode of Diksha on the topic of faith. I thank you for joining me today on Diksha, right here on Sankhya TV, the first Hindu TV station in Trinidad and Tobago, and your number one choice for inspirational, cultural, and spiritual programming.